All right. Welcome back to On SI. My name is Justice Sandel from Miami Hurricanes on SI. Today I'm joined with Will Miller, the lead baseball writer for Alabama on SI. And right now we're going to talk a little bit about the Hattiesburg Regional. Number 3 Miami versus number 4 Alabama, set for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, or wherever you are in the country. Go off all those dates right there. But how are you doing today, Will? And are you excited about tomorrow's game?
Man, I'm doing great. Postseason baseball is quite the thrill always, and it's a really good regional in Hattiesburg. Really good game tomorrow, I expect, between Alabama and Miami. I'm really, really excited. I'll be heading down to Hattiesburg to take in all the action, and you never know with playoff baseball, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Absolutely. So on the Miami side, some are a bit worried about what Alabama could do just strictly in this regional. I think they're already a favorite in many books and things like that, just going to easily walk through. But I feel like Alabama, especially towards the end of the season, might have a similar outlook of what Miami had. At one point, was very high and one of the best teams in the country at one point, but then started to fizzle out towards the end of the season. But you still have a lot of hot bats and a very deep lineup for what you have. So if somebody from Miami were to ask, what would scare them about Alabama, what do you think that would be?
I think it's the depth of the offense, and I've said that a couple times. I think that there's just a lot of just potential ways that so many different guys can affect the scoring column. And you've got guys that you can kind of plug and play in different places on a lineup card. Pitching is key in the postseason, naturally, getting deep starts from your pitchers whenever possible and as much as possible, having your bullpen minimize damage and really just be as effective as they have all year is certainly not something a coach would say no to. But I think that the versatility of this Alabama offense, especially in a park that plays a little bit bigger, is going to make a massive difference.
So you have four. When I was looking through, you have over four players with over 10 home runs. Miami only has one. Daniel Cuvée is the offense for the Miami Hurricanes. Jake Ogden can be there sometimes too, but outside of that, as soon as you kick past 4 or 5, it's almost completely nothing. Unless they get on base, then they can generate something. Is there any concern from the Alabama side about anything Miami could do?
I think that Miami is one of those teams. I mean, I think there's a lot of inherent danger in a streaky team. And obviously, they're on a bit of a down point right now. But that's, I think, a good baseball club for what it's worth. And I've said, I think that Coach Arteaga's background as a pitching coach is really going to help in this setting. Obviously, he's been there before, but this is his first time as a head coach. I think that his knowledge, his background knowledge, is going to be really helpful. I mean, Miami's got some young arms that really could do something. And I wouldn't say Alabama's had a streaky offense. They do have some guys. Jason Torres is one of them that were really swinging it in non-conference play and then tapered off after conference play began, which is an area of concern. Um, and I mean, these 2-3 games, you're getting good teams in them. I mean, whether whoever's the 2 seed or whoever's the 3 seed, saw a lot of good 2-3 games last year. There's some great ones this year. I look all over the place. I mean, I think, for example, that East Carolina Florida game is going to be a real treat over there. And I mean, and as I said at the beginning of this, at the end of the day, it's the postseason. Alabama was a 2 seed last year. They lost a game that they could have won to the UCF team. That I don't know how many Alabama people thought that was a game they would end up dropping, and then they end up going 0-2 in the Tallahassee Regional. So I mean, this game, if you win, whether Alabama wins or Miami wins, could really set you up in a nice way.
Well, looking at some of your pitchers, Riley Quick has been one of your best pitchers so far this season. How do you think he could really affect this game?
Well, I do think he's going to start. Coach Vaughn hasn't announced a starter. I'm hoping to get more detail on that this afternoon, but I personally think Riley Quick is going to start. He's been the best starter this season, and the coaching staff's been really measured in their approach with him because this is his comeback year from Tommy John surgery, and he will be drafted this summer to Major League Baseball. Excuse me, and these are things, of course, that matter. Bigger picture, but I mean, Riley is, he's a big guy, 6'6", about 250 pounds. He's got suffocating velocity, 98, 99 miles an hour. He's hit that throughout the year at certain points. I mean, he's going to strike out a lot of guys. Riley's struggles have somewhat been in pitch count in the early innings. He's worked up to really high counts in inning number one, inning number two. If he can work that down, you have a guy that could go 7 innings in a ball game, if he had to, and if he wasn't getting shelled. But he hasn't yet been able to break out and do that this year, partly again because the coaching staff's been a little bit protective of him, as you or I probably would be in the same situation, regardless of some of the flack maybe that the coaches have been dealt for that, particularly as it pertains to the SEC tournament. But yeah, I mean, to me, this is the best pitcher on the staff. He's had the best year, and if you want to start out 1-0, get out of the picture of that losers bracket on day one. That's who you go with.
Now, is there any concern on your side, or at least the Alabama side, that maybe a pitcher from Miami could cause some trouble, even some batting? Like, what questions, if somebody from Alabama were to ask, okay, what are some key things from Miami? What do you think those questions would be?
Well, I do think that you have to neutralize Cuvée, right? I mean, he's the big power bat. I mentioned the park plays bigger. This is a part that it's not easy to hit it out of, even if you get the barrel on the ball. But obviously, with that being said, he's a Golden Spike semifinalist. He's one of the best players in the country. He is the guy that's going to be circled, on the bulletin board, and it goes through him. So I think, and you never know. You never know who's going to pitch well in the postseason. You never know who's going to pitch poorly in the postseason. I mean, there are some guys in the Alabama bullpen that you thought would have a better year that haven't necessarily come out of their shell this year, and some guys that have been really pleasant surprises. I mean, Carson Osmer, obviously, you knew kind of the experience you were getting when he came out of the transfer portal, but he's led the country in saves, set the all-time single-season program record, and he now has some distance on that record. I mean, so there's been kind of highs and lows on both pitching staffs. I mean, I noticed Miami's only got a couple of guys with double-digit starts, which can be kind of tough to manage. But again, you just don't know for sure. That's why you play the games, right? I mean, on paper, Alabama probably is the better team, the deeper team on both ends, offense and pitching. But they were last year too, in the two teams that they played in Tallahassee, and it didn't matter. They went 0-2.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think for Miami, one of the key things they have to focus on is their bullpen. They have struggled all year, depending on who you have, especially coming up, lefty righties. Miami doesn't have a consistent left-handed pitcher, like the way that they want to. Hughes Griffin is great when he's starting, but he'll also give up one bad inning every single time he starts. It depends on will it be 2 runs or 4 runs, and then he'll be a complete ace like he has been for the rest of the season. That's why he's been moved up to that Friday starter. Then again, they also lost the Friday starter at the beginning of the season, Nick Robert, due to Tommy John, so he'll have to deal with that as well. And then it's just the 2 freshman pitchers. You have AJ Siskar, who's been fantastic. I mean, he started as a relief player coming out of the bullpen, but with the injuries and what they had to do, they had to push him up. And then even Tate DeReyes, another freshman who's been our Sunday starter, he's been very good. Brian Walters, he was the Sunday starter, put him into a closer position similar to his brother and what he was at Miami at that point in time. But like you said, it's going to be a very deep game, especially for Alabama. If somebody was concerned for Miami, it'll be the depth of the Alabama offense, and Miami just doesn't have that depth. But I think most people like to agree that could Miami get a quick start on a team like Alabama? But then again, if Miami gets a quick start on somebody like Alabama, Alabama can respond. But can Miami respond to the thing? That's what the motto has been the whole entire season for Miami. It's been a roller coaster up and down, but they have the mindset of it's 0-0 every day, and you just have to go out there and play baseball one day at a time. So I think it'll be a very interesting game. How do you see this game playing out?
I mean, if I were to make a prediction right now, I think Alabama's going to win.
Yeah.
I think that, and both teams are rested right now. Both teams are fresh. Riley's going to be fresh. Griffin's going to be fresh. The bats have had, I'm sure they're hitting, but they've had some time off from, live game situations, because these are two teams that exited the conference tournament fairly early. And there's a benefit to that, you're not expending your guys at as high of a clip as some of these other teams, like look at Ole Miss or Vanderbilt are. So you've got everything at your disposal to use in terms of players who are healthy. And this is a year for Alabama where it's been very healthy compared to other years, knock on wood. Alabama's used to being shorthanded on pitching, for example, just for health reasons. They didn't have Riley Quick last year for all but 3 innings. But Alabama's offense to me, and they've been to this park before, some of these guys, because Alabama and Southern Miss play every year. I mean, there's some of these guys that they know how to play this, or I should say they know how this park plays. That's a level of familiarity that they have. But depth is as much as pitching and coaching is critical in the postseason. Alabama just has more of it than Miami does at this exact juncture. And yeah, they are playing better baseball right now, even though both teams have had some ups and downs. I saw Coach Arteaga said he nailed it. He's like, that's the game and that's life. I mean, all you've got to do is wake up that day on a given day and throw what you've got at that game. And I think that's what both teams are going to be doing, regardless of, what happened in the conference tournament or what happened down the stretch.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time. Talking a little bit of baseball with me and just about this game in general. Nice little early preview of what could happen. I expect it to be a very exciting game. You would hope for it to be an exciting game and nothing get out of hand too early. But I appreciate your time. Thank you, Will.
Absolutely, Justice.
All right.